I have worked these Kansas backroads long enough to know their habits. You learn the rhythm of the wind through the corn. You learn the silence of a town long after the last diner closes. You learn which lights on which farms flicker from old wiring and which flicker because of something stranger. But on the night I brought the rookie out for his first full patrol, the land felt different. As if the fields were waiting for something. As if the wind itself held its breath. The silo complex stood ahead of us like a giant made of concrete and rust. Most folks in our county had either worked there or had someone in their family who had. Even with the factory lights long dead, the place still towered over the farmland like a monument to work that would never return. The rookie sat beside me, tapping one nervous finger on his knee. He had been quiet the whole shift, which I took as a good sign. Quiet rookies listen. Quiet rookies watch. That is how you stay alive out here. He finally spoke. Sheriff, how come no one uses the silo anymore? I kept my gaze on the gravel road ahead. Economic decline. New rail routes. Cheaper processing down south. Pick an excuse. He nodded as if that answered more than it did. The silo came fully into view as we turned off the main route. The moon hung low, catching the edges of the tower so it looked sharper than usual. The catwalks and ladders cast long lines across the gravel, almost like spiderwebs stretching out in the darkness. The air felt heavy, warm for the hour, thick enough that you could almost drink it. I pulled the cruiser to a slow crawl. Rookie, we are just checking the perimeter. Nothing happens here at night. Not anymore. He did not answer. Then suddenly he grabbed my arm. Sheriff. His whisper was so thin I almost thought he was choking. Sheriff, look up. I followed his finger toward the top of the tallest silo. First I saw nothing. Just the curved metal rim against the moonlit sky. The tower was enormous, and the shadows clinging to its upper edges were deep enough to hide anything. But then the shadow moved. It unfolded itself like a wing stretching for the first time in years. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I blinked hard, rubbed the sting of tiredness out of them, and looked again. A shape was perched on the rim. Tall, still, dark as the night behind it. Not a person, not an animal, something else. The rookie froze, breath locked in his chest. It is looking at us. I wanted to tell him he was imagining it. I wanted to say it was a bird or a trick of the moon, or maybe a tarp caught by the wind. But I could feel it too. Something up there was aware of us. I reached for my flashlight. Before I could turn it on, the rookie blinked. Just one blink. Suddenly, the night erupted. The silo's emergency sirens blasted to life. A violent, metallic howl poured out across the fields, shaking the corn like a storm wind. Lights lining the silos flickered, even though the power to the facility had been shut down for years. The loudspeaker system crackled, spewing static from speakers that should have been dust and wires. The rookie stumbled backward, hands over his ears. Sheriff, what did I do? The sirens screamed again, louder, echoing across the farmland as if some buried machine had clawed its way back to life. I stepped in front of him instinctively, scanning the catwalks. The figure above us had not moved. It remained perched on the rim like a gargoyle cast in iron. Its wings folded tight, its body still, its eyes bright enough to catch the moon. I felt an electric pressure building in the air, raising the hairs on my arms, crawling along the back of my neck. The cruiser lights flickered. The radio hissed. Something unseen pulsed across the gravel beneath my boots. Then the sirens stopped. All at once. No fade out. No dying whine. Just silence. A silence so heavy it felt like the world had been muted. The rookie whispered, Sheriff, what is that thing? I did not answer. I could not. The creature slowly leaned forward on the rim of the silo, its outline sharp against the moon, and I felt its attention lock onto us. The way a predator assesses movement. The way a messenger prepares to speak. For one horrifying second I thought it might leap, but instead, it simply turned its head in a slow, chilling motion, as if scanning the fields for something we could not see. The rookie grabbed my sleeve. Sheriff, please tell me you see it too. I finally managed words, though they came out rough. I see it. And with those words, spoken aloud in the open night, The shape on the silo tilted its wings. The metal groaned beneath it. The moonlight rippled across its form like it was made of something that did not belong under any sun or moon. We watched, rooted to the gravel, breath caught in our throats. The creature opened its wings fully. The cornfields shook. The lights flickered again. And for the first time, I realized something deep in the ground beneath us was responding to it. As if the land itself knew what had arrived. The rookie whispered in a trembling voice, "Sheriff, I do not think we are alone out here." He was right. We were not. And as the creature spread its wings above the silo, silhouetted in the moonlit fog, I understood the truth I had spent years avoiding. Something old had come back to this farmland. Something that saw us long before we ever saw it. Something that could turn dead machinery alive with nothing more than a glance. The sirens were not a malfunction. They were a warning, a message, and whatever was perched on that silo wanted us to hear it. The silence after the sirens died felt even louder than the noise itself. It pressed against my chest, against my ears, against the fields stretching into the dark. The rookie and I stood there, staring at the top of the silo where the creature had perched. The moon clung to the metal rim like a thin blade of light, but the shadow that had been there was gone. It disappeared without a flap of wings, without any sound at all. The rookie took a step backward, shaking. "Sheriff, I swear something was there." I kept my eyes on the empty rim. My instincts wanted to deny everything, to chalk it up to nerves and poor visibility, to tell him creatures like the one we thought we saw did not exist. But the sirens had blared to life without power. The floodlights flickered on and off in perfect rhythm. The air had pulsed with electricity, and I could not deny what I felt inside my bones, deep and unmistakable. Something had been perched on that silo. I rubbed the burn on my palm where the rookie had grabbed me during the commotion, grounding myself in the pain, trying to find clarity. "All right," I said, keeping my voice steady. "We are checking the control panel. Maybe a power surge. Maybe someone tampered with the wiring." But even as I said the words, they felt hollow. That silo had been out of service for years. The emergency system had been disconnected. There should have been no power running through those circuits. We approached the control shed near the base of the complex. The gravel crunched under our boots. The rookie stayed close behind me, flashlight trembling in his grip. When he swung the beam across the shed door, I saw something that made my stomach twist. Scratches. Long, deep scratches carved through the paint and into the metal. Not claw marks exactly. Not tool marks either. Something in between. As if talons had scraped across the steel with impossible strength, slicing through it like soft wood. The rookie swallowed hard. "Sheriff, that was not there yesterday." I checked the door on my shift. I knelt to examine the marks. They were cold. Too cold, as if whatever caused them had drained heat from the metal itself. Behind me the rookie whispered again, "Do you think it is still here?" I did not answer. Part of leadership is knowing when silence speaks more truth than words. I unlatched the shed door slowly and pushed it open. The air inside was stale, dusty, untouched for months. The control panel hung crooked on the wall. Several wires dangled from it, cut cleanly. No sign of power. No sign of tampering. Nothing that could have activated the sirens. But when I stepped closer, I noticed something strange. The panel lights flickered faintly, just for a moment, just enough to glow red before dying again. The shed had no generator, no power supply, nothing. The rookie approached behind me, his voice barely audible. "Sheriff, what is happening in this place?" I ran a hand through my hair and exhaled slowly. Something is wrong with the electrical lines. Might be residual current. Might be interference from the tower. Or the wind. Even as I said it, I knew I was lying. Wind does not carve metal doors. Residual current does not trigger dead sirens. And interference does not perch on top of a silo and stare a grown man into silence. The rookie stared at me, waiting for the real answer. Waiting for something solid to anchor himself to. I placed a hand on his shoulder. "We stay calm. We document everything. We do this the way the job requires." He nodded, but doubt still clouded his eyes. On the drive back to town, the night thickened around us. The cornfields whispered as we passed, wind sliding through the tall stalks like unseen figures moving just out of sight. The cruiser headlights cut a narrow path through the dark. Halfway down the road, the car radio crackled. At first just soft static, then a faint tone, then a voice. Not words, just a sound that rose and fell in a pattern that reminded me of what the sirens had done earlier. The rookie gripped the dashboard. "Sheriff, that is the same rhythm from the silo." I turned the volume down, but the sound only grew sharper, like something pushing through the frequency rather than riding it. Then the lights on the dash flickered. Then the headlights dimmed. Then the engine sputtered. I cursed under my breath and eased the cruiser to the side of the road before it died completely. The rookie whispered, "Sheriff, please tell me this is normal." I opened the hood. Steam rose from the engine, but the heat gauge had not budged. It made no sense. None of it did. I turned slowly and scanned the fields. No wind, no sound, just a heavy, oppressive quiet settling over everything. Then the radio let out a loud crack that made me flinch. This time the sound was not a tone. It was not static. It was movement, like wings, slow, heavy, dragging across the air. The rookie stepped out of the cruiser beside me, flashlight trembling in his hand. "Sheriff, look." I followed his gaze toward the rows of corn stretching into the dark. There, several hundred feet down the road, something stood between the stalks. A tall silhouette, just a little too thin, just a little too still. Its eyes reflected the faint glow of the cruiser's emergency lights. Not red this time, but white. White like lightning trapped inside glass. I held my breath. The rookie whispered my name, not as a question but like a warning. The silhouette tilted its head. Then the corn rustled. Not forward, not back. As if something lifted from the ground and pulled itself into the air. The next second the sky above the field shimmered with movement, and I felt the same electric pressure I had felt at the silo. The air thickened. My heart thudded in my chest, one slow beat after another. A soft thud echoed across the land. Then silence again. The rookie turned to me, voice cracking. "Sheriff, what is that thing? Please tell me we are not seeing what I think we are seeing." I inhaled through my teeth, trying to hold the pieces of myself together. "I do not know what it is," I finally said, "but it saw us, and I think it understands more than we do." The rookie shut the cruiser door gently, as if afraid to make noise. The night settled around us like a veil. We drove back in silence after the engine inexplicably restarted. And the whole time, even with the headlights steady and the radio quiet, I knew the truth settling deep in my bones. This was not just a creature sighting. This was the beginning of something. Something the land had been trying to warn us about. Something the rookie had sensed in ways he did not yet understand. Something that had chosen the silo, the sirens, and now the fields to make its presence known. And that something was not finished with us. Not even close. By the third night, I could no longer tell where routine ended and dread began. The grain silo loomed over every thought. The creature's silhouette haunted the edges of my vision. And the rookie, who once carried himself with nervous excitement, now walked with the kind of quiet fear that settles in a man's bones and does not leave easily. I remember standing in the station's doorway that evening, looking out at the cornfields that stretched far beyond the limits of town. The sun was setting. Long rows of shadow crept across the land like dark fingers reaching from the earth. Hall radios worked again, but the signal was thin, jittery, as if every frequency in the county was crowded with a presence we could not hear. The rookie sat at his desk polishing his badge. He was not polishing really. He was thinking. He only touched the badge when his mind was trapped somewhere he could not escape. He finally looked up at me. "Sheriff, has anything like this ever happened before?" I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Strange things happen in rural towns. Coyotes get bold. Lights flicker from old wiring. Machines make noises they should not. Most of the time it is nothing. He lowered his gaze. And the rest of the time, I sighed and pushed off the doorframe. The rest of the time men see what they fear. He swallowed. Fear does not make sirens turn on by themselves. I did not argue. I did not have the strength. We decided to drive out again, back to the silo. Every part of me wanted to leave it be, to pretend none of this ever happened. But the rookie was right. Something had been there. Something had reacted to his blink. Something had spoken through the radio, even if the sound was not language. We drove in silence until we reached the long gravel stretch leading to the silo complex. As we approached, the cruiser dashboard lights dimmed. The radio hissed again. The same faint energy in the air tugged at my skin, the way static clings to clothing just before a spark. The rookie flicked on his flashlight. The beam was weak. Too weak. Batteries do not drain like that. Not in under 30 minutes. He cursed under his breath and shook it, but the light only flickered. The silo rose ahead of us, its shape cutting into the twilight sky. The fans, long and used, hung still. The floodlights were dark. The metal ladders along the side gleamed faintly with the last light of the day. I stopped the cruiser. This time something was different. The cornfields were quiet. Too quiet. Even the insects had gone still. We stepped out of the vehicle and listened. Then the rookie whispered, "Sheriff, look at the lights on the north side." I did not see any lights. Then I blinked, and faint electric pulses rolled across the metal skin of the silo like ripples of lightning trapped beneath its surface. They shimmered in waves, crawling upward, fading, then reappearing on another panel. The rookie trembled. "That is not possible. There is no power." We moved closer. The pulses vanished when we approached, as if we had interrupted something. The silo returned to a dead tower of concrete and steel. I walked around the base, scanning the ground for tracks. Nothing. No footprints. No animal prints. The dust had not been disturbed. But the rookie touched my elbow. "Sheriff." He pointed upward. And there it was. The creature perched on the catwalk halfway up the silo. Wings folded tight. Head lowered. Eyes glowing faintly like two dim lanterns in the dusk. My breath locked in my chest. It was not sleeping. It was waiting. The rookie whispered, "Is it watching us?" I did not answer. The truth was heavy inside me. Felt like watching. Felt aware. It felt present in a way living creatures rarely are. Then the electric pulses returned. This time running along the metal railings near the creature. A low vibration filled the air. The silo groaned like something deep inside its structure was shifting. The rookie stepped back. "Sheriff, something is wrong with the metal. Listen." And he was right. A soft hum traveled through the steel. Not rust. Not wind. Something alive. Something reacting to the creature's presence. The creature leaned forward on the catwalk, its wings twitching the way a bird adjusts itself before flight. The rookie raised his flashlight again, the beam trembling, barely able to cut the twilight. The moment the beam touched the catwalk, every light in the entire facility exploded. The burst threw sparks into the fields. Broken filaments showered down like hot rain. The electric hum grew louder. The earth seemed to vibrate beneath my boots. The rookie screamed and dropped the flashlight. The bulb shattered on the ground. I grabbed him by the arm and pulled him back toward the cruiser. But the creature did not fly away. It stepped toward the edge of the catwalk. One slow, deliberate movement at a time. The metal creaked beneath its weight, bending slightly. Its wings unfolded inch by inch. Not flapping. Not spreading fully. Just opening the way a net widens as it descends. The rookie staggered backward. "Sheriff, what do we do?" I drew my weapon but did not lift it. I already knew bullets would not matter. I had seen the evidence at the silo. I had heard the creature through the static. I understood, finally, that this was not a threat we could fight with force. The creature tilted its head, and the cruiser radio turned on by itself. The speakers crackled. At first the sound was soft, a faint distortion. Then a voice emerged through the pitch. Not English, not human, but shaped, directed. Then it spoke again. Not a word, not a warning. Something closer to a pulse of sound that resonated inside my chest. The creature jumped. My heart nearly stopped. But it did not fly at us. It rose, straight into the darkening sky. The cornfields bent beneath the wind of its ascent. My hat nearly flew from my head. The rookie shielded his eyes as the silhouette climbed higher and higher, its wings drawing long arcs through the air. Then the sky flashed. A brilliant surge of light ignited behind the clouds. The ground shook. A distant rumble rolled across the fields. The rookie looked at me, breathless. "Sheriff, something is going to happen at the silo." The words of the old sheriff from my last story echoed inside me, even though I never told the kid. It appears before disasters. I looked toward the tower, toward the pulse of strange energy glowing faintly along its panels. And I understood. The creature had not come to stalk us. It had come because something was about to fail. Something big. Something dangerous. Something only it could see. And we were already too late. I used to believe that disasters arrived with sirens and shouting and chaos. That danger made itself known. That it announced its presence like a storm rolling in over the plains. But the truth is quieter. More patient. It settles into cracks and foundations. It waits in weak bolts and tired machinery. It whispers through wires long before anything collapses. And sometimes it comes with wings. We arrived back at the station just as the sky darkened fully. A quiet heaviness lay across the streets like a blanket no one had asked for. I felt the rookie's nerves radiating off him, sharp enough to taste in the air. He paced near the desk with short steps, muttering half-formed questions to himself. "Sheriff, we have to tell someone. The state patrol, the county office, anyone. This is not just a sighting. There is something wrong with that silo. Something alive in it, or around it." I removed my hat and set it on the desk. If we call this in, they will assume we are tired, overworked, seeing things that are not there. He stopped pacing. Then we show them the scratches on the door. The equipment failures. The lights. I shook my head. They will blame weather, or kids, or age. The rookie exhaled with frustration, rubbing his face with both hands. "Sheriff, that thing was right in front of us. It turned the whole place into a live wire." I looked out the station window. The silo stood far off in the distance, a faint shape lit only by the moon. Even from here, I felt its presence like a weight in my thoughts. The phone rang, a sharp, piercing sound that cut through every breath in the room. The rookie flinched and looked at me. I answered. "Sheriff speaking." Static filled the line. Then a voice. Not words, just breath. Soft, slow, rhythmic. Then the tone changed, shifting into something faintly mechanical. A metallic vibration threaded through the noise. My skin crawled. "Hello," I said again. The static crackled once more and then the call dropped. The rookie's voice trembled. "Sheriff, was that it?" I did not answer. Not directly. Instead I grabbed my coat. "Get in the cruiser." He stared at me. "We are going back there. We have to. If something fails inside that facility, it will not just be the silo that suffers. There are farmhouses behind it, barns, the old field road where the irrigation pumps still run. If there is even a chance the creature is warning us." He swallowed. "We need to know what it saw." We drove toward the silo again. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, but flashes of light flickered occasionally through them, the kind of pulse that comes from distant equipment straining under pressure. The cornfields swayed slowly in the wind, the stalks rustling like whispers moving from row to row. The rookie spoke softly. "Sheriff, I looked up some of the local stories while you were in your office. This is not the first time something has been seen up there." I kept my eyes on the road. "Go on." There were accidents, fires, a collapse that injured a feed worker 10 years ago. Every time something went wrong, people said they saw a figure with wings. A warning before it happened. I did not respond. I did not need to. My silence was answer enough. As we approached the facility, the air changed again. That same electric pressure, thick and heavy, making the back of my neck tighten. The facility lights flickered to life in a rush of white glare. The rookie gasped. They turned on by themselves. They should not have. There was no power feeding the grid. Yet every floodlight surrounding the silo complex blazed like the sun. And then the sound started. A low groan, deep and rattling, metal straining. The silo itself shuddered, its concrete walls trembling in the glare. The rookie stumbled away from the cruiser. "Sheriff, something is happening inside." I followed his gaze upward. The creature stood on the highest rim again. Wings folded in. Head lowered. Its eyes glowing brighter than before. The lights began to pulse around us. On, off, on, off, on, off. In perfect rhythm with the creature's breathing. The rookie pointed. "Sheriff, the roof panels." I looked up. A hairline crack had formed along the top of the silo. Small at first, then widening, then branching like a bolt of lightning across the concrete skin. A pressure wave rippled outward. I felt it hit my chest like someone pushing both palms against me. The rookie grabbed my arm. "We need to get to the control shed. If the pressure inside is building, we need to vent it." I nodded, but my eyes locked on the creature. It did not move. It did not react. It only watched, as if waiting to see what choice we would make. We ran toward the shed. Gravel skittered under our boots. The facility lights flickered again. The crack along the silo's roof groaned as something inside shifted. We burst into the shed, breath heaving, hearts pounding. The control panel was still dead. Wires hung loose. Switches rusted in place. There was no way to vent the silo. Not from here. The rookie stared at the panel in horror. "There is nothing to stop it. Nothing we can do." A thunderous sound erupted from the silo. A deep metallic scream. The sound of concrete giving way. We ran outside just in time to see the first collapse. The roof caved inward, dust billowing out like smoke from a cannon blast. Grain poured down in a roaring cascade. The old beams buckled under the weight. The ground trembled beneath our boots. The rookie shouted something, but I could barely hear him, because above the collapsing silo, the creature rose into the air, wings unfurled, eyes blazing like two white flames, its form cutting through the fog like a blade. It circled the collapsing structure once, slow and deliberate, as if acknowledging something inevitable. Then it gave a long, low sound that shook the fields. Not a warning, not a threat, a lament, and then it vanished into the sky. The dust settled. The facility lay broken. No workers had been inside. No one had been hurt, but the truth settled inside me like the weight of the moon. It knew. It had known all along, and it had tried to warn us. The rookie stood beside me, tears gathering in the corners of his eyes. "Sheriff, we saw it twice, and it knew. It knew something was coming." I stared into the night sky, searching for any sign of wings. "It will come again," I whispered, "when the next warning comes." The rookie shivered. "And next time, Sheriff, what if it wants to warn us about something worse?" I did not answer, because the question echoed inside me long after we left the ruined silo behind. What if this time we listened and next time we should be afraid? I am recording this alone. The station is quiet tonight, quieter than it ever was back when I wore the badge with certainty instead of caution. I do not expect anyone else to hear this. Maybe someday it will be found in a drawer or a storage box under old case files. Or maybe this recording will die the way secrets in towns like ours usually do, buried under dust and silence. But I need to say this out loud, even if only the walls hear it. It has been years since the night the silo collapsed. Years since the rookie and I stood watching a creature with wings rise above a structure that was moments from destroying itself. Years since the lights flickered in time with something breathing on a rooftop. Years since a voice neither human nor machine whispered warnings through dead phone lines. But I have never stopped seeing it. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. It started the month after the collapse. A farmer reported hearing strange booms at night. Not gunshots, not thunder. Something else. Something that shook the windows. When I went out to check, I found fresh dirt pushed up near the old irrigation ditch, as if something heavy had landed or taken off. The rookie left the force not long after. He never said it was because of the silo, but he did not have to. His hands shook too often. His eyes darted to the sky in broad daylight. When the harvest season came, he packed what he owned into his truck and drove away. I stayed. Maybe that was my mistake. Every few months, during storms or nights when the air pressure drops and the fields turn quiet, I feel the change in the atmosphere again, like a current passing through the bones of the town. The power lines hum differently. The street lamps glow with a faint pulse. Like breathing, like waiting. And then I see it. Never for long. Never close. But unmistakable. A shape perched on the grain elevator that replaced the collapsed silo. Wings tucked in. Eyes dim as distant lanterns. Watching the horizon. Watching the factory roofs. Watching the roads as if waiting for something to fail again. The first time I saw it after that night, I froze. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers went numb. The creature turned its head slightly, just enough to show it knew I was there. Then it lifted off in total silence, disappearing into a storm cloud that swallowed half the sky. That was the moment I realized something. It had never meant to harm us. It had never stalked us. It had never hunted us. It had warned us. Every time it appeared, something followed. A blown transformer. A structural failure at the feed mill. A gas leak the firefighters caught just in time. Small disasters. Near misses. Things that could have been fatal if no one noticed. And every time, I felt the same electric weight in the air. A tightness in the chest. A sense of being watched not with malice, but with urgency. I stopped doubting the creature long ago. But believing in it came at a cost. I started waking up at night hearing sirens that were not real. I heard metal bending in my sleep. I heard wings in the wind. And sometimes, when the storms rolled in, I heard a soft sound above the roofline. A heavy shift. A scrape. Like talons resting on metal. I would rise from bed and move to the window, slow, barely breathing. Sometimes there was nothing. Other times I caught a glimpse of a dark silhouette on the power pole. Wings folded, head lowered, watching the town with quiet vigilance. The creature never came closer to me than that night on the silo. It never spoke, never tried to contact me again. But I understood its message now, even if I wished I did not. It was warning the town again, and again, and again, and no one else saw it. Not anymore. The rookie sent me a letter once from another state. A short one. No return address. It only said 3 words. I still see it. I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer. I never told anyone. Because how do you explain a creature that appears before disaster? How do you warn a town without sounding insane? How do you admit that a thing with wings understands danger better than you ever will? I know this town. I know its roads and its grain towers and its train tracks. I know the people who live and work here. I know the men who run the factories. I know the families who depend on harvest seasons. And I know how fragile everything is, which is why I listen. Every night, every storm, every flicker of a light bulb, every hum from a power line. I listen for the pulse, the change, the sign. Because if the creature comes back to the grain silo or the tower that replaced it, I need to be ready. I need to know what is about to break, what is about to fall, who might be in danger. This town survived because of it once. It may need to again. And there is one more thing I have to say. The real truth. The one I never put in any report. The one I write here because I cannot keep it only in my head anymore. The creature did not appear when the silo collapsed. It appeared hours earlier. When the rookie blinked and the sirens came alive. When the air pulsed with something not electrical and not natural. When the shadows on top of that grain tower stretched wider than any wind could have moved them. That was not a coincidence. It was a warning. The first one. The one I ignored. I still hear that sirens sometimes in my dreams. Blasting through the fields. Piercing the fog. Echoing through the metal bones of the tower. And every time I wake up, I remember the moment that started everything. My rookie saw Mothman above the grain silo. He blinked. And the sirens turned on by themselves.